I used to think that reading was pathetic and that reading was for girls as a kid. But now I read almost every single day, and I think reading is one of the most beautiful, genius, amazing things ever. Reading is honestly one of the best things that you can do in your life. It is one of the greatest habits I've ever picked up. Reading is wonderful. And how did I go from thinking reading was gay to now thinking that reading is one of the greatest things ever? I'm going to tell you a bit of a story, and I'm not going to give you like, oh, these are 5 things that I did to read consistently. No, no, no. This is just my story, and you can take a lot from this and start reading yourself. Maybe it can inspire you. When I was in year 9, my hatred for reading all stemmed from school. In year 9, they gave us this book called The Great Gatsby. Now, I know it's a world famous book and a lot of people think it's real genius and it's amazing or whatever, but as a 14, 15-year-old guy, I really thought it was just a load of horseshit. It really fucking sucked. It was so boring, honestly. I hate the fact that I had to sit there and read that whole fucking thing. It was horrendous. No one liked reading it. No one actually finished the damn book. Only like 1 or 2 students actually read the damn thing. The rest just fucking threw it away. It was so fucking shit. And we just hated reading because of the way that school, introduced it to us. They gave us this boring ass book and they said, you must read the whole thing by blah, 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 and you need to write me an essay about it in 2 days, and you have to read up to chapter 7 tomorrow. I'm like, fuck off. I don't want to do that. And then I try, sitting there reading this book and you're just bored out of your fucking mind. Like, what the hell is this shit? Like, it's fine literature from the fucking 2,000 years ago. I'm like, come on, get out of here. No one wants to read that shit. So, reading, I always had this bad impression of reading from school, which is unfortunate because school's supposed to, prepare you for life, but now they end up making you hate the most valuable thing out there. It's a shame, but whatever. I'm here to change that for you. And in about 2023, I decided, something came over me. I saw this video. I was chronically addicted to social media and whatever, and this video came up, and it's saying that reading is actually good for you, and it teaches you things way better than your school teachers do. It's like people who've been there and done it, and they're passing down their knowledge to you. And so I decided to get a few books, completely, isolated from school. It's not related to it. It's just on me, my own thing. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to try the stuff. I hear that it's good for me. It's better than scrolling social media. So I'm just going to try it. I knew I needed to get my eyes off the screens. I was looking at my phone screen time and seeing it was like 5 hours. But I knew deep down that on my computer it would probably be more like 7 hours or whatever. So I was on screens all day. I'm like, yeah, maybe this could be something good for me. And I started to read these few books, and they completely changed the way that I see the world. It revolutionized my brain, and I just got these new insights, and I've learned things, and now I am a completely different man. And reading has shaped that for me. And I learned that books are actually really damn valuable. They give you insights, you learn things, and it just changes the way you think. Especially when you're like sat on one single topic for hours and hours on end. It makes you think about this one thing. And we're used to like getting a new piece of information, a new topic, a new idea every like 10 seconds. You're scrolling through reels. First it's like ranking top 5 funny moments or whatever, and then the next thing it's like, oh, this policeman is being unjust and he arrested this guy for fucking not using his indicator on the road. And then the next video is like some, I don't know, guy getting hit by a train, or there's all of this, like, it's just random. Okay, you're getting new pieces of information every like 10 seconds, and it's reading is so different from that. We're conditioned to get these new pieces of information all the time, but reading it's the opposite. You're focused on one single topic for like a long time, and it obviously it varies and depends on what book you're reading, but they're all focused on this one central thing. And when you are focused on one thing for a very, very long time, you start to like develop ideas about it, insights, and those insights sort of make you excited. You want to do something, and then it turns into action, then it turns into real life improvement, and before you know it, you're like, what the fuck? I just read a book and my life has gotten better. That's exactly the process that I thought. Planes, man. They've been haunting this YouTube channel for bloody almost 2 years now. Fucking planes. And that's what books did to me. They changed the way that I lived my life, you know. And I read this book, interestingly, about sleep. I didn't read the whole thing, obviously. It's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. I have it right there down my side. And I never really thought sleep is much of an important thing. But then when I read this book, I sort of realized how important sleep is, and it made me take sleep like really, really serious. And that's all from a book that I read. Obviously, I didn't read the entire thing. This guy's like a scientist, and he is really like using all these fancy terms that I don't fucking understand. So it was a bit of a difficult read for me. It was really hard, but the amount of insights that I got from this book, and it just highlighted the importance of sleep for me. And I thought that was fucking fascinating. So then when I realized that my sleep's important, I started to improve my sleep, and then just like that, from reading a book, my real life has improved. As opposed to like reading the same shit book that you fucking hate, like The Great Gatsby. You don't really get any fucking shit from that. Or even scrolling. Scrolling's the worst thing. You're actually worsening your life from doing that shit, because you're, throwing your fucking brain and whatnot, and maybe you're getting yourself angry from looking at these reels, and you're like, fucking hate the world. Why is the world like that? It's just shit. And then after reading that book, I then got these books called The Power of Now, and there was another one called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and the last one was The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest, something like that. And those 3 books completely shaped the way I live my life. I learned that a life of discipline is better than a life of indulgence through Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And, I started to do harder things. I started to challenge myself. And I found that challenging yourself is actually really good for your mental health. It makes you happy. It gives you something to strive towards, and setting goals and make it good for you. And The Power of Now highlighted the importance of being present and meditation and all that. So I started taking that more serious. And then The Mountain Is You. It taught me about, PTSD and trauma that you may or may not have known that you had, and healing from it. And, it's taught me stuff like breath work and like journaling and shaking and like literally moving your body and stuff like that. And so just like that, just from reading a few books, I started to challenge myself more. I started meditating. I started to, sleep better. And then I started to, do breath work, which just made me feel enlightened and at peace. It just made me feel good with myself. And just from reading those 4 books, my life is completely changed. It's done a 180. I'm the happiest man I've ever been in my life. And I couldn't do it without books, which is interesting, because just a few years prior, I used to think that reading was for fucking girls. But the reality of it is reading is not for girls. In fact, all the books I own are written by fucking guys. I mean, obviously there's a few written by women, but reading is not just a thing for girls. I don't know where that fucking mindset of mine came from. I don't know how that fucking got planted in my brain, but it is certainly not for girls. Certainly, reading is for everyone, and it's just perfect. You got to find a book that works for you. For me, I thought The Great Gatsby was a load of horse shit. For you, you might think it's the greatest work of art that mankind has ever fucking produced. I don't know. For me, the first book that I ever actually read, like cover to cover and enjoyed, was The Hobbit. It wasn't a fucking self-improvement book or, this one. It wasn't that. It was just, God, my nose is itchy. It was just The Hobbit that that little kid's tale. That's what I read, and I just fell in love with the author. So then I read The Lord of the Rings after that, and then I was like in the flow of reading, and that's when I started to read the more educational books and that kind of stuff. And it was just magnificent. Reading has changed my life. It gets you off the screen. It keeps you, learning, thinking about one thing, and it's just a beautiful work of art. So, and there's a book for literally everything out there. There's like thousands of books for anything. So learning has like never been easier. If you want a book or something, just order it online from like Amazon or go to your local bookstore, and you'll get it in like 3 days or something. And just like that, it will change your life just like it changed mine. So hopefully that little book, this little story here has made you want to read more, or just read in general. Because I've always thought that reading was so stupid as a kid, and I know now that reading is most certainly not stupid. It is one of the greatest things ever. And there's people that that think no, reading isn't for everyone. There's always that one guy who's like, no, I hate reading. I was like that too. Trust me, I thought reading was fucking shit. Like, I hated reading so much. I thought books were dumb. I wanted to burn them. In fact, I did burn them as a child. I didn't like books at all. I hated reading. It was so boring. And even when I started reading, it took me a while to get in the mojo of it. It took me like fucking 4 years to finish The Hobbit. I got that book in like 2017. So 5 years or 6 years. Something like that. It took me fucking ages to finish that book because I started reading it, hated it, put it down. I was like, nah, I can't read. I don't like it. And I left it for like years, and then I started to read it a bit again, and it still took me forever to get in the flow of reading. And only towards like the later half of the book is when I really started like reading every day. And I have not gone back since. So believe me, I hated reading. I hated reading so unbelievably much, and my room is literally surrounded by books. I've got books there. They're fucking everywhere. I've even got them outside. I'm surrounded by them, and I read every day. I've read well over like 50 books, probably more like in the 80s and 90s. I've read tons and tons of books, and they've completely changed my life in the way I view everything, the things I do, down to like when I go to bed and when I wake up in the morning. It's completely revolutionized my life, and it is something I am going to preach for forever. I hated reading, but you gotta fucking read. You just gotta find a book that works for you. There is one out there, and once you get that book and you get in the flow of it, then get other books and new things like that. But I would strongly recommend getting educational books, because they actually have a seriously like good real effect in your life. The ones I would recommend are obviously this one, because this one teaches you like challenges and stuff. I don't know if everyone's like ideally likes his fucking the way this guy like speaks and stuff, and whatever. They can't probably handle his fucking do this fucking shit, you lazy fat fuck, or I don't know, some people don't like that, whatever. But I found it really moving. I found it really good for me. And there's another great one, The Power of Now, The Mountain Is You. Those two books they are golden. They are great for your mental health. You read those and take action on the shit that you learn, and you will be the happiest person you've ever felt. I promise you that. Reading has changed my life, and reading will change yours. So make sure you go and do that. If you want to learn more about this stuff, top link in the description is a free community. It literally costs you nothing in join, so you have no reason not to, unless you can't stand my fucking voice. But if you thought this video was helpful, please seriously join that. Free coaching. Just join it, write a post, send me a message, and yeah, we'll get in touch in there. And it's a great thing. I've got a free mental health course in there. I teach the habits of gratitude, reading, exercise, meditation, all that kind of stuff. And I even walk through making your own habit tracker and the dopamine detox, which in my opinion is the greatest, most prized possession. It is wonderful. It is the thing that I developed myself that has shattered all the bad habits and stomped on them for me. So go and join that community now, and see you in the next video.